Hello, Corey Chambers, and welcome to another installment of Being in the Hot Seat with me, Henk Conn. And tonight we're going to quickly get into a specific topic of why we should not be voting for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. Do you have a top set of reasons you would not vote for these candidates?
Yeah, I think we have top 10 reasons plus probably another top 20 on top of that, reasons to not vote for Kamala or Trump.
Can you give me a couple of those?
Well, being a libertarian, it's all about avoiding what we see as the main problem of government, which is government overreach, being too big. Both Trump and Kamala represent, the what a lot of people don't realize is the Democrats and Republicans have some things, really bad things in common. One is they've both been growing the government, and they've both been pushing out all the other parties along with their comrades in the news media. So a lot of Americans who are libertarians don't know they're libertarians. They don't know all the other options, the Green Party and so forth, because the Democrat and Republicans band together as one party in monopoly that creates a lot of tyranny and a lot of our problems.
Yes, monopoly seems to be the word when something like Microsoft. Remember how when Microsoft got too big, they decided that they needed to separate the entities in Microsoft? Are you that old?
Yeah,
Remember that?
I'm certainly old enough. I remember when Microsoft was invented. Bill Gates is a genius. He understands that if you can to create a monopoly, you have extra severe advantages. And so that's why he set out to do just that. Other billionaires follow the same principle of monopoly whenever possible. And so does the government. So do Kamala and Trump. So the monopoly, by keeping out competitors, it's competition that creates fairness and distribution of wealth for everybody. And so when the government and big companies each create this monopoly, and they do it together, as the Democrats and Republicans do it together, as Kamala and Trump do it together, then we all lose.
So voting for Kamala and voting for Trump, in my opinion, is the exact same thing. There's absolutely no difference between the two of these candidates. That there's a larger thing that runs the world, and it's not the president of the United States.
Oh yeah, of course. There's the elites that have extra advantages. They got extra money, extra connections, extra lots of things that ordinary voters don't have. For me, the number two thing that goes along with it is the massive government spending. I think Hank would disagree on this point, but I would say that when you look at the amount of money that's spent, I've done some extra research. Not only is California and the whole federal government spending out of control and massively way more huge than a government needs to be, it's actually taking a bigger piece of the pie. When you look at the total amount of money that the government spends versus the total amount of money that family spends, the government's share of the pie has actually gotten bigger as far as the share of GDP and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I agree with you that we do spend too much on the government when it comes to the military. But that's the same thing that happens. City budgets spend all their money on the police. The government spends all the money on the armies and our Marines, Air Force. Our government, that's what our government does, is they spend tons of money enforcing laws. But it spends very little money on really solving any problems.
Yeah, well, I think libertarians agree that we could have a much leaner, meaner military. And many people believe we don't need any military. Costa Rica proved that a country can be wonderful and grow faster without a military if your diplomacy is right, which United States diplomacy certainly is not right. We have bases in 98 countries, something like that, American bases. Do we really need American bases in 98 countries?
I've always liked you for your boldness. If you had that movie idea about the gay world. But I wonder, oftentimes people will say that if you vote, like I'm a Green Party, if you vote for, if I'm voting Green, I'm helping Donald Trump or George Bush in the past. So they make me out to be a kind of somebody that's not smart, and I'm throwing the election for the Democrats. However, I think the Democrats are horrible and stupid. I think people that follow the Democrats are mindless. They're much like people that say that they're religion but never open up a Bible, and never go to church, but they say they're Christian. They neither read about their what's really going on, nor do they practice anything. That's a Democrat. So it would be interesting to really view the world as these sheep and snowflakes are universally both Republicans and Democrats. And that we should really try to develop a way that to vote for these people is just a sign of unintelligent behavior.
Yes, it is very unintelligent when you have to rely on just doing what the crowd does and just following the crowd, like a child, like a baby. And, it's fine.
Agree.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine for a baby to follow their parents, their family, or the crowd. But when you're an adult, you need to be able to think on your own feet, come up with what's best for you, your family, and your community. And following the Democrat plantation or the Trump train, most of the people a lot of them are mindless.
Do you think these people are just genetically inferior, or do you think that they're just taught wrong? I mean, is there something wrong with them, or they're just taught to behave that way?
I think you and I have both studied enough to know that things are nurture and nature, and when they both have a problem, then you have a problem that's can be insurmountable. So, yeah, it helps people have healthy, wealthy, and wise families, and local communities that are smart and helpful, and governments that are smart, schools that are smart. Helps us all be smart. But now we really have no excuse to be dumb. We have the internet, we have AI, so anybody can look up anything else, but you still have to realize that the internet and AI are biased and corrupted by Democrats, Republicans, and fake news
I would
media.
agree with a lot of, as a Green Party intellectual, people might not think of me, but when a person is challenged, sometimes in a life or death situation, it requires them to go out of their safety zone, and they start to learn outside of their safety zone. It's that survival instinct that kind of makes you more intelligent. So I think that there's an idea that there's so much information given to people. They're so lazy, so comfortable, and never gets them out of that zone where they actually are forced to think in life and death situations. They're truly challenged.
Yeah, people need to know that hundreds of millions of people over the last few hundred years are dead because they first stayed in a safety zone and did what their governments told them to do. Communist governments, American governments killing. I just added it up just in the Middle East alone, Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and so forth. The U.S. killed over 4.5 million people altogether that were, as a result of all that disastrous pro-warmongering, Cheney profiteering.
It's a horrible world of killing and slavery, and outside of our borders of the West, because we live in a soft world. But if you would travel to some of these other countries, it's horrible. It's pure chaos, and it's a dog-eat-dog world, truly. But we are soft, we don't realize it. And more, we're becoming insulated. And the more we do become insulated, the more likely we are to vote for Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah, that's a major problem. Another top 10, if not top 3 problem is censorship. The mainstream media, the internet, Mark Zuckerberg, Google, YouTube is still censoring, not as much as they did during the virus hysteria, but they're still interjecting their propaganda in every video, on almost every video, or a lot of videos, every important video they're interjecting.
There really is no more news anymore.
Also,
if you
People
watch
don't
any
realize that
news, it's always the
thousands of
same news.
journalists.
It's always the same news. It doesn't go very deep, and that is a form of censorship. Is that they only concentrate on the big stuff? Yes. I like
Yeah,
the house
mainstream
behind you, by
media
the
is
way. It's a
inherently government. Thank
is
you.
that a California house behind you? Is that house
It's a
there?
California home. Uh-huh.
Are you trying to sell it?
Yeah. Uh-huh. It's for sale. It's this house is in Westminster. It's a little bit dilapidated. It's yours for about 1.2.
Okay. What's the going interest rate these days down in Southern California?
They just lowered the interest rates, the federal government. So
No,
it's
fantastic.
about yeah. It's oh, I got one call from someone who's kind of halfway interested in buying a property. So that's where the market is right now.
Mhm. So the interest rates, what, about
Before we
8%?
forget, no, you can get a mortgage right now for under 6% and
Oh,
maybe close to 5%. It's going to be between 5 and 6 usually, unless you have bad credit. It'll be over 6.
so the adjustable is usually the lower one, and the fixed is usually the higher one.
Higher interest rates. Yeah, adjustable will start off lower, but possibly end up higher. Yes.
Yes, yes. So basically, you have corporations who own news outlets who censor uh, all the news by only reporting on the big scandals in the 24-hour, and so nothing ever really gets reported on.
Mainstream news is very, very pro-war. It's a military-industrial complex. It's corporate. It's elites. It's Democrats and Republicans, especially Democrats, who have become more pro-war than Republicans lately. A lot of people don't realize that
Mhm.
Democrats and Republicans switched on a few key matters. Democrats are now more into censorship than whereas Republicans used to be more. Democrats are more into war, which Republicans used to be more into war. So people have to be aware of these changes. Um, you should not be pro-war unless you want to go fight and get killed in battle yourself.
Mhm.
Then
No,
go have at it.
so what kind of world are we living in? Are we living in a dystopian world of a militarized, super oppressive, intelligent thing? Or are we more living in a world of the idiocracy? That the lowest common denominator is just eating our society along. No one strives for anything, and we are just going to circle it because we're all lazy and stupid.
Yes, and both those things go hand in hand together. It's part of the big deep state, the elite wants to have an elite. They don't want the middle class to be elite. They want the middle
Mhm.
class drugged and dumbed down as much as possible.
Now
Just the
you have a master's degree in marketing or something. What do you have? You have a
I have you have a real master's degree. My master's degree is a it's um it's a private master's degree.
but it was in marketing.
In private MBA. Yeah, it's a
No,
life experience MBA.
so
But I have a
so give to me if you can a label about people that vote for Democrats and Republicans, like sheeple
life.
or snowflake. What should we call them?
Sheeple's correct. Snowflake is for people that are really afraid to go out on their own. So, yeah, if someone's afraid to be a Libertarian or Green Party or one of the many other parties, or afraid to be truly independent, for instance, yeah, those people are sheeple. Yeah, most Democrats and Republicans maybe deserve the term
So it's a
sheeple.
combination of like elephant and donkey forged together to create this sheeple, mass thing, like in the movie The Thing, where the just kind of like races
Yeah,
into the
and
mass that is guiding our future.
yeah, and if you breed a donkey and a horse, I mean an elephant, you
Elephant.
you get a sheeple.
All right. On that note, I think we've taken this far enough. Any final ideas on how we might solve not being drowned in the drain of a toilet by this system that seems to be draining the toilet? Is there anything we can do in these final days?
Yeah. When you vote for the lesser of two evils, you're still voting for the same evil. So don't vote for evil.